Sifter for the ear.
News, interviews, reviews, cinema, TV, streaming. Action.
Hi, y'all. This is Jerry Williams, a.k.a. TV Jerry. Miss Cleo, Her Rise and Fall is a movie about the famed psychic who became popular in the 90s. It was directed by our own Tim Reed, and it's now playing on the Lifetime channel. I'll include a link on the webpage for this show at tvjerry.com. Now, this is not to be confused with the documentary, Call Me Miss Cleo. This is a narrative film about Cleo's life and career.
I was different in school. I was trying to blend in, but I couldn't, so it was obvious that I was different.
Anytime somebody is different from you, so often our immediate reaction is to be afraid of them.
Getting to know people, you don't fear what you know. You fear the unknown, or you don't trust what you don't know.
That was a clip from Mary, her journey from pain to purpose. Mary Almay transitioned at age 58, and this film features interviews with her and others about the process and the politics of transgender life. It will screen at the second annual Virginia Queer Film Festival at the Old Dominion University campus in Norfolk, Friday, September 20th through Sunday, the 22nd. I'll be talking with Mary and one of the filmmakers, Joanne Larson, about the challenges and surprises of creating their first documentary.
Sifter Review of the Week.
The Union on Netflix. Everything about this movie has been done before, and better. It's yet another spy adventure where an unwitting friend ends up in the middle of the mayhem. In this case, Halle Berry is the operative who enlists former beau, Mark Wahlberg, to help save the world, or at least the identities of the country's spies. Thus begins a mundane series of chases and fights, every one of them mediocre and unoriginal. The chemistry between the stars is okay, but the dialogue leaves them in typical trite exchanges. While this film isn't especially dull, it's never especially interesting either. By the numbers, boring. I gave The Union 1.5 out of 5 stars. Joanne and Mary, welcome to Sifter for the Ear.
Thanks for having us.
Now, first of all, I want to ask you, because this is SLA Productions, what does it stand for, and how did this idea for Mary get started?
Well, SLA Video Productions is actually our last names. So it's Cheryl Shaver, S, Joanne Larson, L, and Duke Anchak, A. So that's how that all started. And then we all got together. We were actually doing content for people over the age of 55. And we were doing a podcast, and someone came up to us and said they really wanted to know, could we possibly get a guest on our show to talk about gender identity, because their grandchild was going through this. And we said, well, we'll look into it. And then we heard about Mary, and we decided to interview her, or ask her questions, interview her via a Zoom call. And it evolved into, whoa, we have to cover this. And it just evolved into the making of a fabulous documentary on Mary's life.
There you go, Mary. Now, what was your first reaction when they said, hey, we want to put you on camera? Because I know that's always terrifying.
Actually, it was terrifying. My first thought, and still my thought, is why me? I don't feel like I'm worthy of this, speaking on this, but it's where I'm at. So this has been good.
There you go. The title of the movie is Mary, period. Why is the period there?
We wanted Mary to be the title, but we also wanted a descriptive subtitle of some sort. So to give it more impact, we put a period after her name.
You didn't know that either, Mary. It looks like from your expression there. No.
Oh, I did not know that.
Now, you transitioned at 58.
That is correct, yes.
Later in life, obviously, and then they made this documentary in the last couple of years. I noticed that there are no photos of you before transition. I'm assuming that was an intentional decision, and why?
I don't know if it was intentional on the part of the producers, on Joanne and the team. It was intentional on my part. That part of me was not the real me. And so I just don't want that part of me to be seen anymore. I want people to get to know me, not for something that wasn't.
Right. Now, I'm on a panel or on a committee at VCU where they're trying to engage the queer community more, graduates especially. And they had a name for, is it Dead Name?
Dead Name,
Okay.
correct.
So Dead Name is what your name was before you became Mary.
That's correct. That's my dead name. And I see that body of me, although it's part of my life and it's still part of me, it's just the dead part of me. It's just not me.
Right. Okay.
And Jerry, in respect of, Mary's feeling that way, that is why we blurred faces and, if we used anything, and we tried to use scenes that were like the wedding, it was the back of them and their hands, so that you didn't have to see that.
Right. Tell me what the biggest challenge was for you, Joanne, and your team, because you basically have a lot of talking heads. You don't have a whole lot of B-roll. You have obviously some newer pictures. How did you address that challenge?
A lot of our video was shot via a platform where we do record remotely, but we get the person's video 4K with their own microphones. So that was all fabulous, but we had to make each interview look different, So there was that challenge. And then one of Mary's friends actually lives in Arizona normally, but goes to Lake Chautauqua, New York, for the summer, and was amongst a community of LGBTQ people that were amazing in their own right. And so we are relatively close to Lake Chautauqua, being from Cleveland. So we drove up there for a weekend and shot video of Sarah, and then also numerous other people that had different input to the whole documentary.
So, Mary, there are a couple of interesting stories in the documentary. I wanted you to just briefly, the alligator encounter.
The alligator thing was, at that time, I was suicidal and I was wanting to do away with my life, but I was afraid to make it like an open suicide because I didn't want to embarrass my wife, Betsy, and make it a big deal. So I worked up an idea that if I had an accident, it would be great. And so in southern Sudan, crocodiles are in the Nile River. And what they do is when you travel on the Nile and you're going down the river, they follow the boat you're in. And these are little dugout wooden homemade things. Because when you go down and you go for long distance, people go and take stuff to eat and they just throw it out and the crocs go after that and they get food. Well, they also are known for grabbing people off the bank who are trying to get water, especially smaller children or women. So I thought if I fell into the river with these crocodiles, it would be over with. It would look like an accident.
Painful accident, but yeah.
Yeah. So going down one time, I noticed that we had 5 or 6 20-foot, 25-foot crocs following the boat. They look like little submarines because all you see are their heads and they can make a wake. And so I rolled out of the canoe hoping that the crocs would come and get me. They didn't. Obviously, I'm here. My thought when I was coming up was, where were they? And when I did come to the surface, of course, by that time, everybody was trying to reach for me and get me back in the boat. I looked to see where they were going, if they were coming, and they were all swimming away from us. And I guess the thought in my time was I can't even kill myself properly. But the thought I had was it was too big of a splash for them. So they thought it was something too big for them, and they were going away.
Where are you, Mary, living?
We're living in York, Pennsylvania right now.
And you're in Cleveland, Joanne, right?
Correct.
Surprise guest drop in.
Somebody is dropping in from Norfolk to say hello.
Eric!
Yay!
Obviously, y'all all know each other already.
Yeah,
yes, we do.
Years.
Footnote.
Eric House is the director of the Virginia Queer Film Festival. So, Eric, you were on the show last year talking briefly about the festival. Why don't you give us a little update on what the festival's about and when it is?
So this is our second year, and the dates are September 20th through 22nd here in Norfolk over at Old Dominion University, a couple different venues over there. They've been great partners. They see the educational component in this, and so we have a rapt audience with their student body. Last year was our first. We thought it was very successful. This year it's through the roof. We had a record number of submissions, and we've selected 40 films, some feature-length documentaries, a couple narrative films, and a lot of shorts. And what's so amazing to me, they've come from 7 different countries around the world.
Wow.
So we have a multicultural approach to the LGBTQ experience, which I love that.
Now, you said LGBTQ. I thought you only said queer, Eric.
Okay, queer.
We had that discussion last time on the show, I believe, about that, because I'm with you.
I still get a little flack about that, but
I know. I think we own it now, so that's okay. So, how did you discover Mary, the movie and the person?
Well, Mary and her wife lived here in Norfolk for a few years,
Aha.
back in the aughts. Was it the aughts, Mary? Was that when it
Yeah.
was? Yes. And Mary became the executive assistant for Hampton Roads Business Outreach, which is our local LGBTQ Chamber of Commerce. And I was on the board at that time. So we just started hanging out. And the one thing I remember the most, Mary, is we were at Equality, Virginia, Andrew and I, and the four of us shared a table together. And I think that's when we really started to bond because we talked about everything under the sun. And I've never forgotten about her experience. So when it came across my radar screen that she had a documentary, it was a no-brainer to invite her and her wife to come to Norfolk and share their experience. So that will be part of not only a screening, but afterwards, I'll conduct a talk back with Mary and we'll field some audience questions as well.
Cool.
Mary's experience is unique as all transgender people's experiences are. There's no two that are alike. And I think Mary comes from an interesting, different perspective in a lot of ways.
And did you just meet Joanne through the process of getting the movie in the festival, I'm assuming?
Actually, I have not met Eric until just now.
I know. Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
So,
you.
speaking of that, so you mentioned Mary, you're coming. Joanne, are you planning to come?
Cheryl's actually coming. Cheryl Shaver.
Oh, good. Okay, good.
Awesome.
Okay, great,
Good.
great. So is there anything else about the festival that's going to be new or different this year, Eric, or another film that might be a really hot one that people will be excited about? I know you don't like to play favorites with your children, but you know what I mean.
I'm not above that.
There you go.
If you're familiar with Norfolk, you know that the narrow expanded cinema here has been an ally of the queer community for going on decades now. And they've shown over the centuries that I've lived here, lots of different queer films that otherwise never would have come to Norfolk, Virginia. And as a result of that, they were a partner we approached for the festival because during the off season, when we're not planning the festival, we do screenings once a quarter with a narrow of LGBTQ films. Okay, so if you lived here, you remember they had a DVD store right next to the theater, and they had this huge collection of queer films there. It was amazing. It was, I think I heard it was like 1,200 titles.
Wow.
Well, they closed that store and they donated that whole collection to ODU libraries. And now there is a section in the library at ODU of all those films that they donated, including the queer films. So I'm partnering with ODU libraries as well to bring some of those films out of the vault. So we call it LGBTQ Out of the Vault. And we're having a special screening on Thursday night as a preview for the festival. And that just came about today. So I'm excited about that.
Out of the vault, not out of the closet? Or out of the closet and out of the vault? Or out of the vault and out of the closet?
Sometimes it's felt like a vault throughout my life, but it's fun now.
There you go. There you go. So, Mary, what do you remember about your Norfolk days and hanging with Eric?
Well, I'm not going to tell all the stories about Eric. That
Oh,
probably wouldn't be
come on.
appropriate.
That's what we're here for. We want the dirt. Give us the tea.
Living in Norfolk was actually, it was a pivotal time in my life because when I transitioned, Betsy lost her job and I lost my job.
As a result of the transition or just coincidentally?
No, directly due to the transition.
Right.
And Betsy's a pastor. And so the church kind of kicked her out when they found out about me. And so she ended up going down to Norfolk to work at the VA center there as a chaplain supervisor trainee. And when I came down, I was unemployed and got connected to Harbor. And that's how I became their executive assistant and doing the work there with Harbor. And I think one of the things for me was it was the first time I was really surrounded by, I'm going to say it, Eric, LGBTQ community that was so vibrant and so active. And I felt really empowered to be a part of Harbor. And so it was a time for me to be able to heal from all the pain that I had. And it was a beginning time for that. So it was just a very pivotal and strong time for me. I have very fond memories, and I am looking forward to coming back down and seeing some old friends and hopefully making new ones.
And it's interesting, I can tell you're not a native because you said Norfolk. I had a discussion a couple of weeks ago with somebody who said Norfolk, and I said, I can tell you're from Norfolk. Eric, how do you say it?
Well, I'm Southern, and we even made a T-shirt during Pride that says Norfolk.
Norfolk, yeah.
Nawfuk.
We don't drink, we don't smoke Norfolk. Norfolk.
Yes, you know the chant.
Yep, I added it on the show a couple weeks ago from somebody.
Oh,
from
really? That's crazy.
Well, I'm going to be in Europe, sadly, Eric, so I will be missing the festival this year, but I want to wish you all the best. And I will have, of course, a link on the web page for this show. And actually, I'm doing this early because I will be gone, and this will be airing a couple weeks early, so people will have a chance to prepare and get down to Norfolk to see the movie.
Excellent. Let me just make a pitch for the website. It's VAQFF, Virginia Queer Film Festival.org.
And I will have a link on the website, too.
Thank you, Jerry.
All right, Eric, good to talk to you.
You too. Mary, we'll see you when you get here. Call me.
I can't wait, Derek.
Have a great day, y'all.
I noticed in the credits you thanked Andy Warhol. What was that about?
We actually started this whole process through a grant that we got from the Andy Warhol Foundation through
In
Spaces.
Cleveland.
Yeah, in Cleveland, correct. Yeah. And that's what started the ball rolling and paid for our trip to Lake Chautauqua too, also. So, yeah.
What was the biggest challenge on putting this together? You've already said the location distance was a big challenge. Budget, I'm assuming, might have been a challenge.
We ended up shooting, almost 2 terabytes of footage because it's all 4K. And then going through the transcripts, like we transcribed all of the footage and then went through and highlighted things that we thought would be good to go where. And then it was like putting together a puzzle.
Yeah.
And it's an ongoing thing too. We watch it once and we go, well, maybe we need to tweak it a little bit there. So if anything, those were our challenges. But our biggest challenge was exactly that, was the B-roll. We monetarily, we didn't have enough in our budget, of course, to do something cool with pictures. Like we want to add some illustrations,
right?
But that's going to have to be something down the road because we need more funding in order to do such a thing. But
and I thought I was your biggest challenge, Joanne.
No, you were easy, Mary.
So, Mary, how did you feel the first time you watched the finished documentary?
Well, actually, I guess I have to answer that in 2 responses, because the very first time I watched it, I was alone. I was with Betsy and I. It was overwhelming and sad because it brought back some memories that are long past. But then when I went to Cleveland and I saw the screening for the first time and all the people that came out, I mean, it just touched me very deeply that there were that many people in the community who were interested enough to hear this story or wanted to hear this story. And it moved me because, especially in today's culture, the story needs to be told just to let people know that we're normal. We have everyday lives. We have everyday thoughts and dreams and wishes. And then when it filmed here in New York, I was definitely overwhelmed because the community that came out in support was just, it touched my heart. And it still does.
Well, now you say the community, I'm assuming you mean the queer community. I want to ask both of you the question. No, okay, good, because that was going to be my question. How have you seen a response from straight community seeing it? Have you tried to reach that crowd or did they show up anyway? What's the deal with that?
That was a lot of the attendees at our Cleveland one. And what we witnessed was it enlightened them, it educated them, and it almost changed their perspectives, which was really a good thing. There were a lot of people that came only because they were supporting us. They had no idea what they were in for. And they left saying, wow, what a great film. So that, and they all love Mary. Yes.
Oh, cool. Mary, you had that same experience.
Yes, actually, I thought here in New York it would be mostly the queer community coming out supporting me because I'm on the board of the Rainbow Rose Center, which is the local LGBTQ center here in New York County.
Right.
So I knew there was going to be a turnout from them. I hate using the word overwhelmed so much, but I can't think of a better word. How many from the straight community came out, and including churches and church people. My wife being a pastor, that was really important to see. Since the filming, I have had numerous people coming up and wanting another showing, and they want another screening here. And I had one woman come up to me about a day later, and she said that she had been at the screening, and she just wanted to thank me because her daughter had come out to her. And she didn't know anything about it, and that the film really helped her. And I'm going to cry because that made me cry when she told me.
Right.
That was a powerful moment.
Joanne, was there anything about making this that was a surprise to you that you didn't expect to find out or learn? I mean, I think maybe the fact that the straight community has embraced it would be one, but anything in the process or anything about the finished product that was, oh, I didn't expect to know this or find this out?
The things that were most surprising, at least to me, were how they were treated, how evil it was, with them growing up, getting bullied and everything else, and not being accepted for who they are when they are such wonderful people. It's once you got to know Mary and what she went through, she still didn't hold that against anyone. And
Right.
instead, especially when she was, over in Sudan, and she's with people, Muslims during 9/11, and yet they are befriending them. That's what the whole story portrayed. And that was what was surprised, but I was pleasantly surprised with that kind of an acceptance there, as opposed to like, maybe we can make a difference by showing this and getting people to just realize that somebody might be not like you, but so what? They're still real people and you need to get to know them.
Is there anything that y'all wanted to mention about the movie or the experience that you think might be interesting for people to know about?
I think they did a fantastic job on telling the story of what happened to me in such a way that it can be relevant to others.
Footnote.
At this point, producer Cheryl Shaver, one of the other partners at SLA, chimed in.
I have to say one thing too, that and I'm experiencing it now, and on this big of a scale compared to what Mary has gone through, how difficult it is to get people that want to talk about this. Even people that are supportive or believe they're supportive, or Mary, who say they're allies,
Right.
but they don't want to do anything because they're afraid of what people will say or how it will be perceived. Being trans has absolutely nothing to do with, your lifestyle or your character. And when people finally get this through their heads and see this as an example of Betsy, who is probably, the most Christian person I've ever met in my life, the true Christian, and Mary and what she's experienced is still a lover of people and wanting to try and help and heal other people so that they don't experience what she did. And that is freaking huge. And if people don't get it, they're never going to get it. We all have to do something. And that's how we felt when we made this film. Is we heard Mary's story and Joanne and I were just like, whoa, like, what do we do? We just did what we knew how to do, which was, let's try to make this into a documentary. We had no idea how to make a documentary.
Yeah.
We're not filmmakers, but we did it.
So one last question I want to ask Joanne and Mary, when you're not working on a documentary or being in a documentary, what do you like to watch?
I have a very eclectic taste. I'm really big into sci-fi romance kind of things.
Okay.
Sci-fi romance.
Like, give us an example.
I just ended watching a series now, and I can't remember because you asked me to give you an example.
Of course. Well, you know what? Let me ask Joanne, and while she's saying what she says, it'll come to you because you know
Maybe
how that
it'll come to you, right?
It will.
Right.
It will. We know how our minds work.
I do love watching documentaries, especially about old rock stars, because music in the 70s when I was, definitely into vinyl, it was fabulous. So, yeah. I also love those Only Murders in the Building.
Yep. New season's coming up this month. Yep.
Just love those guys. And The Bear. The Bear has been lately the one I've been watching. So
it's so funny that comes up so often on that question. And I'm the only person who apparently thought it's just a bunch of angry people yelling at each other. I don't get it with The Bear. I just don't get it. Mary, did it ever come to you?
Yeah, it's called The Forbidden.
Okay, still don't know it.
Because I was a police officer in my past life, I also love police shows and documentaries. So I watch a lot of that too.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you both. This has been fascinating. It was wonderful to get to know you, Mary, literally and documentarily, whatever. And Joanne, it was great to talk to you. And thank you all so much for being on the show. And good luck down at the festival.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for having us, Jerry. Really appreciate it.
That was Mary Alma and producer Joanne Larson talking about the documentary Mary, Her Journey from Pain to Purpose. It'll screen at the 2nd Annual Virginia Queer Film Festival at Old Dominion University in Norfolk, Friday, September 20th through the 22nd. There's a link to the festival on the website for this show at tvjerry.com.
Coming soon. In theaters.
Reagan. Dennis Quaid plays the former president, and the film goes from his childhood to the Oval Office. Slingshot. Casey Affleck stars as an astronaut who has issues when his years-long mission to Saturn's moon may be compromised. Afraid. AI is in the middle of the title, and this is another thriller revolving around artificial intelligence doing evil, with John Cho and Keith Carradine. You Gotta Believe. A Little League of Misfits, is there any other kind in movies, goes to the World Series Finals with Greg Kinnear and Luke Wilson. City of Dreams. Here's another sports movie based on a true story about a Mexican boy whose dreams of being a soccer star are shattered when he's smuggled across the border and ends up in a sweatshop. 1992. Tyrese Gibson plays a shop owner who tries to save his son during the LA uprising after the Rodney King riot. The Wasp. Naomi Harris and Natalie Dormer play estranged friends who reconnect with murder in mind.
TV and streaming.
The Deliverance on Netflix. Lee Daniels directs this thriller about a house in Indiana that the community believes is a portal to hell, starring Audra Day and Glenn Close. The Killer on Peacock. John Woo revives his '89 classic about a hired assassin, this time starring Natalie Emmanuel and Omar Sy. Only Murders in the Building on Hulu. The new season of this crime-solving trio takes them to make a movie with Zach Galifianakis, Eugene Levy, and Eva Longoria playing them. Incoming on Netflix. This raunchy high school comedy is from the creators of The Mick, with Always Sunny in Philadelphia's Caitlin Olsen starring. Lord of the Rings on Prime returns for Season 2, with Dark Lord Sauron coming to prominence. Chaos on Netflix. A new version of Greek mythology starring Jeff Goldblum. Pachinko on Apple. The new season of the chronicle of a Korean immigrant family across 4 generations. Next week is the final broadcast featuring films coming to this year's Richmond International Film Festival. It's called Saturn and is a science fiction drama. This is Jerry Williams. Thanks for listening.
For more Sifter, including literally thousands of reviews,
Visit tvjerry.com.
That's a wrap.